matchup that I think everyone is excited to see. Two teams, unknown commodities across the board. Who knows what we're going to get in this epic matchup? And honestly, it being an elimination game makes it even that much more tense, Josh.
Yeah, it really is. And I think for the Karmine Corp fans, they have such an active, engaged fan base. And this is the first time that they get to see their team. They're going to be so excited to see them on stage. And I think they are the favorites here. They're like 2-1 favorites in my mind over FPX, just because of how little experience this FPX squad has on the big stage. But upsets are bound to happen at some point here.
It's got to happen. I mean, with the amount of matches we've got, especially the format, it really does trend itself, I think, as well to, you know, teams potentially having something cooked up, something a bit more gimmicky. And, you know, I don't use that in a negative term. I think it's a very valid strategy that teams could go into this tournament with. You don't have the luxury of counter-stratting your opponents as much. There's not really any footage. And these two teams, there's a lot of unknowns going in for either side. So you can go in with your own game plan. You can cook up something a bit strange, you know, that somebody's not expecting, forcing your opponents to adapt to you.
I think the only thing that we really have solid about the map select is you've got to look towards like FPX, right? Because they're the team that is actually a team that we've seen play before. True. And they used to always just permaban hate. So that to me says Karmine Corp should have an advantage here because you know a bad map for FPX. And so you have some idea. And when you think about that from FPX's point of view, who knows what a bad map is going to be for Karmine Corp? Because you've just not got no possible way of knowing. They're a brand new team. And they've only kept, you know, a duo from one team, a duo from the other, and XMS. XMS, the guy that you're seeing at the moment there, he is a player to watch as well. He's got talent. He was doing really well in the French VRLs.
Makes me, you know, so excited because, again, I keep saying this, I sound like a broken record, but I've just never seen this before in a tournament of this size, the stakes, you know, eliminated every time. And
oh, thank the Lord.
There's the icebox. So no icebox today,
gone.
that's fun.
Yeah, I was sick of it.
But that also leaves their permaban Haven completely open, so they've got to have a plan.
But isn't that interesting?
And Scream gets rid of Ascent, which is interesting too, because that used to be one of his favorite maps. I mean, again, who knows what it is now?
There's been so much time between these teams.
Shut the front
so we
door.
actually get to see.
Shut the front door.
We get to see the Lotus being picked. And I mean, I cannot think of a more perfect time to unveil this as well. We've been talking about the unknowns, been talking about the uniqueness of both of these teams and the way that they play, and now we get to see it firsthand. First map in this series, elimination game on Lotus.
Every team has floated Lotus so far, I think. No team has first round banned it, I don't believe. And so, I don't know whether that means Karmine Corp were ready to play it, or they're quite a new team, so they can't have had too much time in there. But this is a bonkers first couple of maps. I mean, the third map could be whatever. You're already going to get insanity in the first couple. Yeah, Pearl, sure, that's fine. But, I mean, Lotus and Haven. Again, Haven, permaban of FPX. They beat EDG on it in the finals, playing some
It was wild, man. The Viper comps that they were putting out on Haven.
Play Viper on Haven!
Yeah, it's just absurd, honestly. But that's what I mean, these teams. And until you get tested on the global stage, it's really difficult, I think, to really just kind of like weed out what works, what doesn't in terms of those compositions. But if you expected me to talk about Lotus and what we might see played, I mean, just good luck, because...
I think it might be these comps.
Yeah, well,
you think it might be these comps, too?
Gaming agent select here. Let's see, and also let's see what Scream is going to lock in as well.
Yeah, this is crazy interesting.
Actually,
so it looks like both teams are going to be running the double controller comps. No duelists anywhere around.
I mean, I was not expecting this at all. When I was making my predictions in terms of what we might see on Lotus, Breach was the #1 pick in my mind, because there's just so many narrow choke points.
Yeah,
you can set up with your util. It's amazing, honestly, I think, on Lotus itself. And neither of these teams have opted into it. But they're going for Sky and they're going for, you know, Sova and Fades, respectively.
But what do they know that we don't know?
Well, Scrims, that's what they know that we don't know. That's literally the answer there. But I'm surprised we see a mirror matchup, because I feel like there's so many comps that can work on Lotus. The fact that they've both landed on the same idea is crazy.
All right, real quick, predictions. Who wins?
Oh
Brent.
my God, you're going to do this.
Just say it.
Karmine Corp.
Karmine Corp very closely.
Okay, well, you heard from the casters, or from the analysts. Thankfully, I don't have to pick. Let's send it over to your casters for this one. And who better to bring the action than Pansy and Hypoc?
Thank you. Yeah, look alive, Sunshine. We have Lotus coming out of the gates here. This is purely uncharted territory now.
Yeah.
We are, I know it was the unknown at the start, but now it's just spiraled.
This is the crazy thing, right? Blank canvas here in Brazil. We've got two unknown entities, right? If you take this at face value and then throw in the uncharted territory, this is an absolute insane opener to this series.
Yeah, this is going to be wild. Let's start. Where do you want to start with this, Mike? Normally I give you carte blanche on this. Where do your eyes go here?
I'll come back to the brief discussion we had there. The key to Lotus until we see it, right? Until we see it obviously at this level played. The lack of a breach here is interesting, right? You can trade off Fade with some of that early space denial with some of the utility, but Breach almost feels like a mainstay from what we know so far. This could completely flip the script on that. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Obviously,
happy to learn.
There's a discussion to be made about the double controllers and how aggressively that's going to be applied, but that's definitely something I've got my eye on in the first half.
I'm really interested to see how half of this is implemented because we have no idea really about FPX. Playing within your region, you can only really extrapolate so much from it. We need to see how it translates up against someone like Carmine Corp, who again, yes, we have a little bit more of information on. Of course, wow, that wipe. That's stunning. That's stunning. And this could be this year's most open heartbreak. If you look at this game, there is a chance for an upset now. Now, whether or not FPX are the team to be able to pull that off is what we're here to see.
Open up here with a little bit of presence shown towards B initially. A smoke invested as well. Like Scream and Shin going to have their hands full if they do commit to this push. Actually, I think Atsi getting a ping on the reveal as well there.
Yeah, Berlin. We'll wander around. Just wait and see where that first real commitment comes from. Because again, keep your eye on the, I guess, the amount of attention to pushing towards these sites. They're already peeling away. So they've drawn a fair amount of utility from C.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Navera almost hitting the panic button there to send the paranoia through. Shin still here. He's playing off the contact of that alarm bot. FPX have stacked up here.
Ooh, the flash didn't actually connect.
Yeah, no confirmation,
I don't think. So actually might help them out, keeping more players present towards that B site, you know, still able to pull the retake. We're at 45 seconds here. They need to make them a commitment, and they are. Shin going to draw first blood of the follow-up as well. Stunning work already. The B site somewhat under wraps until then, but it's Carmine Corp with a shutdown right now. One player standing, and 4 to find in this B site here. It really did not have much to it. There was not much leg to it. There was not pulling rotations, and there's a 4-man firing squad. It's round 1 to Carmine Corp.
Yeah, again, crediting the drawing out of a lot of that utility over towards C, obviously with that contact towards Mound, with the door coming through as well. Again, after that, a little late on the rotation, I've got to say it. Carmine Corp, after not really feeling the pinch towards side, happy to just funnel back in all the way through Link. And like I said, actually at that point, there was no pressure towards B. That alarm bot was still untouched even from that early pressure shown. Shin had a couple of freebies to work with there. FPX looking to work the map though in the pistol. See if that does continue. And switch up here on the Viper wall actually invested over towards A, but no presence gained on the back of it. Yeah, Scream going to clear all of this, and going to find no information on the other side of it.
Yeah, pretty big. Again, yes, you can sit super deep towards that A side of things, but it looks like he really wants to continue clearing towards this. In the meantime, we're once again seeing what looks like a B pop, maybe just be off the back of contact, but at this point, the utility's perfect. They're not really sweating right now.
Yeah, this is a brutal setup to push into as well. It's like Carmine Corp are going to rely heavily on that
and
alarm bot.
It's lovely. It's really well considered here by Carmine Corp. Now, again, we don't know how deep this goes for them, if this is a really comfortable map, but so far, looking quite nice, not really threatened by anything we've been seeing.
I guess the early objectives for FPX is to figure out what the default Killjoy setup is of XMS. Try and deal with some of that utility. And formulate some kind of plan on the back of it. Luzera just poised ready here with the recon. Again, this wall. Gonna go up, gonna make it so difficult. Shin just getting another freebie, that spike isolated as well. Scream now coming through to punish from behind.
Yeah, he doesn't have to go too hard. They're just being completely mullered here. This is pretty brutal. Yes, if they wanted to try and swing towards the other side, you saw the KJ set up to an extent with XMS. He wasn't particularly pressured, and the shutdown should be coming in. Nice shot. Needed more, not going to get more. There we go. Clean enough for Alive, and once again, this Viper setup towards B is fabulous. It's working well. Seen a little bit from the KJ coming in here too. Yeah,
I'm curious here if on the buy round, FPX going to lean a little heavier towards A. Obviously, that switch up with the Viper in the previous. Whether there's going to be any progress towards Rubble. Actually, whether or not this A site is going to get tested. Navera actually switching up, it looks like. We did see him over towards C on the pistol round at least. Brothers in Arms may be tasked with holding down the A site. It's a heavy stack, actually. Only really one member of FPX disconnected from this.
Yeah, it's a good read so far from Carmine Corp as well. Right place for it. For the utility scene as well, they're going to be feeling quite correct in this, and a little bit of a ping towards Berlin. They're going to note that too. So may kind of start strengthening or maybe exploring the other side of the map, but we'll see. We'll see what this default looks like as well from FPX, if they take their time here too.
The key thing being, XMS has actually completely switched up here. Has all of his utilities stacked across both entrances to A site. One actually just behind the choke here in tree. Tower lined up here and should spot the molly as well. We'll have to see what the response is here from FPX. That should be a big indicator that Carmine Corp have completely flipped up their defensive setup for this round. Already though, bodies making their way towards A side. Scream ready to break the wall. Actually, Berlin going to go ahead and do it for him. The flash is perfect on the back of that. But no kill though.
I have no idea how Scream didn't get that. I don't know if he maybe caught.
Berlin ate that flash.
Yeah, it was full blind, it looked like. Well, that's a start, that's a freebie, but you can see the utility now into play. XMS is just loving this, getting all that information. Yes, one has to look towards side TZH, but gets quickly handled. You can see the trade coming out. So, currently 3 players. Make it just 2, make it just 1. Nevera last alive. Spike now down. Patience paying dividends for FPX here.
Nevera only with Marshall in hand. I mean, it should be an indicator. We saw YU pick up that kill inside the poison orb. There's no real weapon for him to retrieve here. So not he will be given a consolation. FPX should be holding on to 4 of these rifles here. Actually, a very well-crafted round.
And considering the correct positioning, let's say, from Carmine Corp, they had the players in the right place. They were pretty well prepared. I thought it was FPX who were going to be on.
Yeah, Nevera looking to fight fire with fire early on with the shorty.
Does he get a little exit? No, it was so close. Not going to get it now, though. Actually,
oh, wow.
tell a lie. Took one down. That's a rifle lost.
Actually, Berlin with no armor either, so a couple of repurchases required. We'll have to see if they can spread.
Oh, it's way fake.
Stream. Thanks for the replay.
Headshot machine just not hitting.
But so far, I mean, this is the main discussion to have around Breach is obviously the ability to deny this early space towards rubble. Actually, we see TZH actually mixing things up a little bit with a smoke to kind of deny information, maybe even to play anti-flash versus Scream. Not to get pinged out here, and actually completely unconsidered. Nevera's way ahead of this smoke.
Yeah, they are getting hyper-aggressive on this. I want to see what they can achieve with it. And yeah, Nevera gets away with murder. Daylight robbery towards Berlin, but it is traded out, so not going to have so much of an impact beyond that, but very telling. I'm looking towards Spike still. I want to see if there is layers to this, because it's already Carmine Corp exploring the rest of the map now as a reaction.
So yeah, we'll find something here. The turret will fall as well, so Shin and Scream getting proactive just outside B here. FPX are drifting back towards the side of the map that Carmine Corp still have bodies on.
Yeah, I wonder how much this gets heard by Scream as well. Yeah, definitely going to hear that.
And XMS is tucked in deep here. It's almost an anti-rush setup. You can see the molly being pinged out here as well. That's all on the back of contact here, but dealing with the first, XMS might be in trouble here if you look at the minimap.
There's no one
a little isolated, yeah.
Yeah, Scream can maybe make it there somewhat soon, but already seeing Nuzera holding the other side of the map, so that's a huge benefit. Now they're a little stuck and a little bit worried about that door. Just being tested, but lovely work from XMS, holding well and effective trades, leaving it in a 1v2. Wow, this is not a comfortable scenario. Tap on the spike to draw some attention, but 20 seconds is so little to play with. The double face coming out, and Carmine Corp keeping it safe, but losing a couple of weapons, down to 2 rifles here, but again, it's rounds on the board.
Yeah, not much for YU to do in that situation. Another example of how much pressure this door opening at that time before FPX can even find themselves inside C site. Scream just playing a little diversion. Distract away, allow XMS to really tuck into side, but it's interesting to see here. Nevera actually punishing the placement of that wall. It makes it so difficult for anyone to really help TZH. Like I said, I kind of like that smoke on the back. I'm going to draw out the lockdown potentially. XMS thinking about it.
Does he pull the trigger on it though?
I mean, it's a massive investment, and there's no real progress onto another site here, so you got to question that initially. Nevera still with very deep control here towards A. FPX looking to pop onto B side.
Okay, I said this could be fatal. It's a little bit better timing now, but again, let's see what they can do. The shorty in hand, Berlin, the only one to really connect so far, and they break through towards A, but there's a pinch. Navera right amongst them, one to the right, one to the left, Link down two! Navera can't quite make the third count, but there's only one still standing. A 1v3 to boot with 30 seconds. He wants a pick so badly, and XMS, that realization hits, and he hits the brakes. They hold. They know this is a fake now.
Yep, love this discipline here from Shin and Nuzera. XMS can't get isolated here, but stands his ground.
Nice.
Picks it up, and crazy thing to consider. Actually, I think I just saw YU back on another lockdown, which FPX are going to be happy to have that in their arsenal. But yeah, a little curious about the investment here towards that fake, and whether or not it wasn't, you know, they didn't get enough pings on C side, they didn't feel confident with, you know, cutting the sound from 2 or 3 players, but Navera's done fantastic to get this deep control and maintain it. Bear in mind, we're members of FPX lingering outside A site. Yuchun constantly looking to pressure, but Navera stands his ground.
That's a huge rep from him. Great point, actually. That discipline, that ability to not over-rotate, over-react, hold that space was incredibly valuable. 4-3, though. Quite the close game so far. Let's see where this continues to tilt. Both sides able to fashion a purchase here. See a couple of ults available as well. Again, that early pressure towards C. Let's see if they pull a rotation. I want to see what their plan is and what they keep in mind here, FPX, seeing what they're trying to draw reaction-wise, but a massive stack from Carmine.
Yeah, look at B site.
Yeah. And they're actually working off the back of it too. There was consideration to commit to that.
Yeah, it looked as if Shin really wanted to get aggressive behind that drone.
Pacey.
Easily here on the back of that though, smoke invested. Scream gonna back away towards Tree. Does have a little bit of support coming through from A-Link. Actually now a third in the form of Nuzera.
They need something to pull a player
FPX
away.
look very hesitant in some of these rounds, Lauren.
I'm waiting to see if there's anything else to this. Navera's paranoia. Ooh! Just stepping into Scream and actually finds it. Now the panic stations, but look at the lurk as well. That potential is huge. That could be a dagger in the back that we've yet to see come into practice yet. So Spike going to go down, and there's 4 players from Carmine Corp towards CT. So for now, all good though. You're going to see the Killjoy carrying all the way back around. This is all towards the site. Already great trades coming in, and FPX actually holding on to this. They are not down just yet.
Yeah, the lockdown's invested just as 2 players fall as well, so XMS and Navera have to get something done. Berlin happy to challenge this actually, but Navera there to punish.
Yeah, maybe a little overstep. They're trying to go towards it, and a tap towards the Spike, and now starting to panic. TZH going to try and get himself in, shorty to hand, and gets just drawn into the blender. Doesn't mind, he's going to sit it out, take the damage. It's not a problem. He will be the defender on this, and that's perfect play. I love watching this, and what a way to lock it down in the end.
I love that it gets called on the desk, and we're seeing shorty plays being pulled out here
The egg
by
is
FPX.
smart. The egg knew what was up.
I love that as well, the
Dungeon's
TP in and
working out.
just sitting on top of the friendly nano swarm as well. It's completely unconsidered
And the
by
reduction in
Carmine
damage,
Corp.
it just worked out so well, mate. It's such a gutsy play, though. You just don't see that sort of thing.
This is the thing, though. Like a minute or so into this round, you're looking at where FPX are, and you're thinking. I mean, they've drawn out a fair bit of utility, but Carmine Corp seem to have a good read on where to rotate and when. It's just on the back of a slow creep there to find that first blood, where it then kind of descends into chaos, I'll be honest. Unfortunate timing there. XMS invest in the lockdown, then 2 players of Carmine Corp fall immediately, making that a little more difficult.
So,
Curious here, actually coming out of this timeout, if there is going to be a big switch up here for Carmine Corp. I mean, it's 4-4. It feels like a close affair, but FPX are definitely trying to plant some seeds.
Say it, Mike.
It feels a little all over the place, I'll be honest. They've got away with a few rounds where it's kind of raw firepower on the other side of that. I mean, Shin's stood his ground a number of times on B site. It doesn't necessarily feel like there's, you know, a weak point that FPX are going to be able to exploit so far, but they're scraping rounds through, so you can't fault that at all.
No, but it may be, it's scrappy, right? I don't think we were ever going to get a clean game out of Lotus yet, in my mind, unless someone's like just super drilled on it. But as I said,
it's scrappy, but it's not puggy. It's
not puggy.
It all kind of looks intentional in that regard.
It's bizarre to me, but it may be something to be looking at regionally if that pays off for them. Maybe a couple of teams expecting this sort of kind of a little out there play style, but it's working well enough for now. Again, let's roll and keep in mind, Carmine Corp picked up the pistol, so this scoreline, if you put it in context, if it keeps going this way.
Big info from Berlin's reveal there. XMS looking to get
He's heard so much, though.
Yeah.
But what can you do, XMS? That's not bad! The Vera by his side! Gonna get the reload in time! Yes, he can! XMS! With his way in gold! And now leaving them in tatters, just TZH. The Aldron got a spot too, could not get worse here. Oh, just layering in the utility, just buying a couple more precious seconds, and now the support system's in place. But maybe overzealous in the peak there, 6 HP, it's not gonna be enough. Shin shuts it down, and between Nevera and XMS, that was lovely.
That is beautiful, because with that reveal, I think it pings 3, and they're almost probably thinking that it's like, yeah, it's a stack. They're gonna run this draw on the 50 round. They're gonna try and get deep control towards Rubble. The XMS tucks himself in, and Nevera from the back lines to give him the support. The perfect timing on this swing. And the fact that XMS gets the reload and finds another kill on top of that.
Wow.
Beautiful round from Carmine Corp. The saving grace, really, because you've got to feel like the timeouts for this round now.
Yeah.
Back on a purchase. We got us on Nevera by at the last second now. So,
Wait.
another opener here, very early on.
What a
XMS has
rock.
dug out the lurk here. YU for FPX. So should actually relinquish some map control here.
I've got to say, for me, just quietly so far, XMS has been, the rock of this team. A couple of issues towards C early on. We've seen a lot of the attention being drawn there early. He's been solid.
Yeah.
Really solid.
Another thing to consider as well, Shin's early dominance towards B site has kind of acted as a deterrent for FPX for sure.
Noted at least 2, potentially 3 players, yeah, and they're actually going to be willing to fight all this scrappy work again. Carmine Corp not afraid to take a fight or two. And no similarity to that prior round. Lovely shot from Berlin, but that's all it's going to be. 4 alive, 4 rifles remain. No problems there. Carmine Corp retake a little bit of that lead.
Yep.
Carve away a little bit of a
Big
comfort.
positive to come out of that timeout and pick up the 2 rounds to follow. FPX back now in a position where it's pretty much everything in the bank invested into this purchase in round 11. So if this isn't a win, it almost feels like it's leaning towards Carmine Corp closing this half out 8-4. Lockdown to work with for FPX. TZH with that TP. Yuchan and Berlin 1 away from their ultimates respectively. The MO is here. Actually looking to counter off this early control outside C, just around that mound area with that one-way. And bodies up behind this for FPX as well. Yuchan being pressured elsewhere. Again, still tucked into A lobby. Seen Nevera there on the X-ray. I imagine they're going to leave him posted up once again in this position. But this feels like a must-win for me. For FPX, Lauren.
See what they can do. There's going to be drawing out Hunter's Fury. And the ult's now been removed. I want to see what the response behind this. It's still a great Nevera. Huge! Gets revealed, has to fall with it. How is he alive?
Well, hang on a second, because YU's just lost the spike on C. He walked out onto site with it.
Oh no. Well, this...
They tried to fake with the TP. The TZH has got it now, but...
That's actually filth. They've got a free site. Of course, the 2 players were going to play around it, but the TP was still there for TZH. Spike now down. What do they have, the post plant? I mean, they've still got the Viper if they really want to mess around with it.
That should already be down in my eyes, but you see here, Yuchan disconnected a little bit, loses out to XMS.
Did not love that. TZH now 1v2. XMS already. Nuzera, a little bit of utilities play, but not a great deal. They're slowly clearing through here. See what they can find. Needs a clean fight, doesn't get it. Nuzera. Nice work. Carmine Corp keep this together. But that, again, some of these rounds are just mad.
I mean, I said it wasn't puggy. We're pulling out the rank strats now.
Yeah.
Why are you just barreling onto site behind the lockdown that gets destroyed? I mean, it pulled the rotation. So what do I know?
I guess it kind of worked.
Great fake.
Great fake.
It's a shame they can't close that one out. TZA still had a fair bit of utility actually left, but the one thing to consider, at least getting the spike plant here, means that we're going to see a couple more rifles than maybe we were expecting. So we weren't bankrupt in the previous, but there's gaps here. Missing out on one snake bite, no poison orb here.
Yeah.
And 2 big ultimates to work with at least, and actually 1 away from the Seekers as well.
Okay, similar scenes, similar starts. We've seen this before, but a little bit more intent from FPX to at least get towards that wall prior to Nevera, who's been a consistent threat. This time, however,
The operator here.
Operator in hand.
Actually not holding the close angle either. It's a chance that maybe why you will catch Nevera off guard.
Precarious fight. They're slowly creeping towards that A site as well. You can see it just slowly building towards A. 4 players leading this way. So again, Old's going to probably find one, I believe, yeah. And okay, Prowler around the back, and they're actually going to just lean in towards B instantly. Spike's on the way as well. They've got at least 2 players watching towards the other side. Nevera is good for it though. Patience pays off. Ayu's down. Now we look towards what this B side is going to be.
Shin's locked them out here with his Viper's Pit. Completely covering sight. They have to fight back towards A side. Scream's actually peeled away, but there's still 2 members here, XMS and Nuzera, to lock down A site.
So aware of the possibility that someone's going to try and maybe slip through that. Another ult invested here, plenty to play with for Carmine Corp as well. The next play is Scream does go down, and now maybe some problems here. Counter ult comes in. This is so messy, Mike. What on earth is going on in this?
Another round where Viper's Pits are going to overlap here, and actually Shin standing his ground once more. We'll deal with another member of FPX. Only 2 left to find. No snake bites for you, Chun. A paranoia to work with. But it's a mess in there on the free cam.
Yeah, this is
They're jumping
mad.
in with shorties.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous now. And actually, TZH is obscene with this, but now has to go above and beyond. It's not going to happen. Carmine Corp somehow weathered that storm that was going on in B. This game is bizarre, Mike. I've not seen a game like this in a while, be it Lotus, be it the way FPX are playing, be it Carmine Corp, I do not know. But Mike, this is something else.
I mean, I'm ready for the second half. Let's
Yeah.
see what FPX cook up in the second half here on the defense, because I'm definitely here for it.
Yeah, you and me both, and I think just checking back in on this, yeah, this was lovely to watch.
I mean, there's a world there. I think there's like 3 or 4 shorties running around in both Viper's Pits there. XMS the one to find value from it. See the laughs on their faces after that final round.
I mean, 8-4, a respectable scoreline coming in, but I've got to say, Carmine Corp really started to carve away a little bit of that safety net towards the end
After
of
that
this first
timeout,
half.
it just felt very comfortable for them.
Yeah, it absolutely did, and well, I'm sure the desk will be smug after what they've just seen happening on the first half here. Let's hand it back to them.
I tell you what, that last round looked like a few high school parties I used to have. You know what I'm saying? Things are a little crazy over there.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
honestly, I am over the moon with what we just saw, Josh.
Both of those teams were really closely matched up until the final 4 rounds, but I feel like FPX could have done a lot more with their game plan overall. They didn't really put an emphasis towards controlling that A space. They just allowed Carmine Corp to have it most of the time. However, in round 5, that was one of the instances where they actually did go there. So I want to showcase, because it's our first time seeing Lotus, how important this area is to fight for. So with the Viper Wall, you know, you have seen them in previous rounds sneaking up behind it, but here they were able to get a couple of picks, and they actually opened the rotating door, pitted onto the site, and allowed for a really difficult retake that Carmine Corp couldn't handle. And I wanted to see them do that more, because the couple of times that they went towards A, they won.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think, Bren, you know, now looking forward into this, there are clear things that FPX can take away as they're going to switch sides here. It's very clear, and I want to get your thoughts. Like, how do you feel Lotus is playing out?
Well, the comps are very interesting as well, and individually, you know, we're seeing Sky being played, which I didn't expect, but the reason I think it makes sense now after watching that half is, you know, you see Scream, you see Ayang as well. If we just take a look at these guys in terms of a head-to-head, the numbers themselves, you know, not entirely impressive. We're used to seeing Scream at the top of the scoreboard, but it's how they're using the Sky. You know, you get the extra information from the flashes and the dogs as well, the Trailblazer, to be able to, like you said, Josh, take that control of either A main, C main when you're on that defense side. I think Carmine Corp towards the latter end of that half were very, very good at vacuuming up all that space that was being given to them for free. And you kind of need to see the same, honestly, from FPX, I think, when they swap sides now.
Yeah, I actually was quite impressed with the way that Scream was playing, because he was getting tons of information for his team. And he wasn't just playing it like a duelist. They actually had some pretty good plans, double facing on different high ground, low ground setups. Carmine Corp are kind of ready here.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and switch sides, because I'm just glad that was a quick half, because I want to jump right into this bad boy. So let's go ahead and send it back over to Pansy and Hypot.
Yeah, 8-4 on the half. Mike, let's kind of talk top level then and work our way down, if you don't mind here. Let's kind of touch base on our expectations now. We've seen the first half. It's a very small sample size to go off. Do we believe this is scrappy because of map, because of team, because of playstyle? What are we actually looking at here overall when it comes to this?
I think it's fair to kind of give credence to a lot of those factors, right? This is something that even actually after the first few rounds, you look at where the comfort levels come from for both teams. It didn't really feel sustainable, right? Initially, FPX were very, very focused towards B site. Obviously, then Shin finding a little bit of comfort. I don't know if that forced them to kind of innovate on the fly, but some of the rounds didn't feel like there was initially a set plan. It felt heavily reliant on audibles, which, again, when we come back to that composition discussion, that's where actually the Sky, the Omen makes sense, right? You have that ability to find information later on. Obviously, switch up the smokes as well. And the turret was already disconnected, so not really here. Carmine Core just looking to go through some early round protocols. You see the ping coming through back towards A site, but already Yang is headed this direction.
Yeah, it feels like, considering how slippery FPX are playing on their side of things, they're very aware of the possibilities of fakes on this. A little bit of swing from Berlin, but doesn't quite find much.
I think that first flash was a little shallow here. It's not going to matter because they see us sending shots this way. Or are they at 30 seconds? We're pulling the plug on that A site here.
And B is so unknown to them. I don't love this. They've just got to hope, they just get free entrance to see?
I mean, your best play that Yuchun hasn't got a snake bite, he doesn't here. The poison orb's going to be up, but it's layered here with a nano swarm.
This is 10 seconds. I hate this. This is so up in the air. He's going to hit all of these steps. Now, can he do anything with it? No. XMS might just save him, but again, time has to know.
Oh, they're
so close, yet so far. And now into a post plant, decided by a couple of seconds. And now it feels like it's going to fall to pieces. Can anything else come from this round? A valiant attempt so far. TZH still looking to find value on this. Paranoia, smoke, and the TP. Gets towards sight, and the flash doesn't quite go through the wall, and Nevera happy to greet it.
Just a Yang left to find here. And Clock already going to decide this one, but it's another round that definitely doesn't feel comfortable here. And I was just talking about some of the rounds where it doesn't feel like there's a plan initially. Carmine Core probing all over the map at the 30-second mark. I mean, they're out rubble. They're outside A lobby. It's lucky. I think the timing is just ever so slightly off there for the nano swarm. Because it's the perfect setup, right? It's layered with that poison orb. You can see, I think Shin's down to sub 5 HP. Unfortunately, can't find that crucial kill on the spike at under 5 seconds.
I just hated what I saw.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest.
I don't want to know how many pages of the scrapbook look like that one.
Yeah, that. I'd rather we don't depend on that. We play percentages if that's the game they want to play, but it worked out, so why am I worried? A little bit of a buyback here from FPX. Going to see a couple of Sheriffs and the Marshal coming out. On the other side, Spectre's a little bit more value for it, or more bang for the buck. And the spike being left by Spawn, there's no massive intent being shown. Yes, there's that early presence over towards C and the punish on towards 1, but beyond that, they're starting to look towards that B site, keeping that attention drawn throughout the map.
Yeah, Spike not committed this time around, at least. Berlin forced very deep outside B. That's going to re-swing this, but XMS will punish. That should be B site. Pretty much firmly in control here of Carmine Core.
I don't think anything else could be going better for them right now. Smoke going to go down. They're going to catch the rotation. And yeah, no one's going to find a window into this. The Shorty v Sheriff, it's the Sheriff to win out this time. But it's a quick cleanup. I'm seeing no real threats at this point. Again, the spike now being planted. And there we go, just TZH trying to make a 5-hit. Double digits now for Carmine Core.
Actually a big opportunity here if you look at Scream and XMS. And Scream one off the C because XMS already on this lockdown. Could be very influential coming into this next round. 3 Spectres, a rifle in the hands of Nevera. It's definitely doable. With the investment, I'm seeing 3 light shields and a Spectre on the side of FPX. Now that's not what you want at this scoreline coming into the 3rd round.
Looks like aggression might be the name of the game here, pushing up already. And Navera, how does he even have a chance at that fight? Let alone win it. And Navera's still fighting it out. Does find 2 this round. And already down to the 3v3 here, and the aggression not really stopping here. Berlin in the middle of no man's land. But he does have support beside him, so actually coming out the better in this one.
I think elsewhere, yeah, you just saw the Vipers face off. XMS will find another kill, but it's YU to seal the deal. FPX happy to fight fire with fire over towards Rubble here. Navera with a ridiculous opener, though. I think literally just first bullet on the back of that Tracer after the Paranoia connects. Same discussion to be had, though, coming into this round. Still a Spectre in the hands of Berlin. Lockdown and Seekers available for Carmine Corp. And FPX, unfortunately, as good as broke if they lose this one.
Time going to be offset with the one-ways here. Going to at least invest a touch more utility early on to clear close, but as we've noted already, FPX is in quite deep this time. Not really willing to posture up for this one. Navera going to be able to clear this eventually. See already, 3-1-1 leaning towards the C site. Now we're going to go through middle. Does actually find other players on the other side. That is XMS, but he does have support as well. Scream on the back line, going to clean up too, and FPX finding no value here.
Yeah, you've got to respect the intention here to dig out, follow up on those Prowlers, feeling as if it might be a solo lurk. XMS support from the back lines. Got their eyes set on B. Yeah, the Lockdown invested Seekers to layer behind this. Should be a pretty free B site for them. Got to get themselves set up comfortably here. I mean, the Snakebite going to slow things down, but to see where this re-challenge comes through from FPX. There's actually a 3v5 for them here.
First fight will be clean as well. There was no trade, there was no one else behind it. That's not bad though, that's a shot and a half. Yang doing very well here, 3 stunning kills. And it's Scream to try and save the day, but it's somehow down into the 1v1. How has it got here? Shin makes a bit of a meal of it, another attempt at this one now. Jump peek gives away the game, 8 bullets to play with, and Shin so prepared. But that was close to a tragedy, Mike.
Yang nearly pulled that off. Lucky Scream finally shuts him down on that one. A beautiful attempt at the retake onto B site here. Carmine Corp with a massive investment, and I think actually reading the scoreboard very well, knowing full well that this is the round that breaks the bank for FPX. And happy with this. I mean, this is over 30 seconds into the round, still with 2 setup. Anticipate that first shot was beautiful.
Nice. Mechanically,
and the swing on the third was dirty as well.
Yeah. I know if we talk, you know, expectations when it comes to especially teams from China coming in, it's always been that mechanically, absolutely on the money. Always have been. It's always the depth that gets brought into question. If you look at prior games where, you know, tactical shooters especially, we know mechanically these players were always up there. It's just, do they have the depth to keep going? And maybe again we're starting to see that here early days, but this is still very early days for FPX being on the international stage, for example.
Yeah, it is. And calling the timeout here, I'm seeing light shields already. I don't think this is going to be the round that they throw their investment into. Don't have the ultimates really to back it up either. Have to ride this out, almost concede the 12th round to Carmine Corp. Not looking as if they're going to get aggressive here either. A couple of bodies poised towards B, but I think actually it's going to be Yu-Chun just to invest the wall, get some control outside A. See how Carmine Corp play this one out.
Yep, again, could be petering out here for FPX. Already going to be more than likely against 12. It's like a bit of a stack, exploring over towards the C site, but the default should be tailor-made for this. This should be the perfect example of it. Let's see how well it works. Very complimentary angles here as well. Yeah, it's going to be shut down. Lovely. Carmine Corp, light work, nice aiming, but again, light armor. So, or not even light armor, excuse me, no armor, and just Sheriff. So this was par for the course, and this will be 12 for Carmine Corp. FPX somewhat getting punished here, really. Once this side switch has happened, the game certainly running away from them.
Yeah, I think it was where you can make the argument for maybe not having the finances to really enable some of this proactivity that certainly I was expecting in the second half. Again, dare I mention it again, the close affair on that pistol round. All but felt, I'll be honest, fairly definitive in how this half started and how it's going to end. SMS deals with A-Yang. Just one left now in the form of TZH.
Yep.
30 seconds
And not going to have any say in this one. Looking like it might even be a prime gaming flawless here for Carmine Corp.
There actually haven't been as many of those as normal. It has still been
Oh,
scrappy.
we talk about it being scrappy in the first, yeah.
And mechanically solid, but at this point, Carmine Corp just stretching their legs throughout this game. I would say with this roster, still unsure of the level in which they could reach, even in a more traditional tournament format when it comes to Carmine Corp, but looking solid here. Unfazed so far, and you're absolutely right. The Prime Gaming flawless coming through and putting them on 12 rounds as well. So this is looking like it could be wrapped up quite soon here, Mike.
Yeah, and for FPX, I mean, even now we're coming to round 18, round 6 on the half. Still no ultimates to play with. Don't really have the options for the lockdown. I mean, want to fight for an orb early here or try and find a kill. Maybe on towards A-Yang or Berlin. Carmine Corp sitting on the Viper's Pit, one off the Seekers once again for Scream. So opportunity really to lock down, get themselves into a comfortable post plant. Might even just challenge right towards Yu Chun here. Seekers available now. Might look to pop on the back of this.
Could do. Rotations are having to respect this. You've got 3 players, make it 4 now, coming around. Shin actually takes a little step closer, but I want to see if there's intent. It looks like it's a fake.
Yeah.
And they've drawn so much attention. I guess you have to respect it, but that's 4 players coming through. And Shin may put life on the line to try and really sell this tail.
I mean, the other thing is, well, it's going to draw out further utility. Berlin might even invest this next Prowler to clear this out. But there's 4 members of FPX.
Ooh, that one way could... Yeah,
tunnel visioned onto this Viper's Pit right now.
And I wonder how much Shin can actually punish. Perfect look. Does get traded out in the end. Viper's Pit will fall, but again, they got stalled out on the A side with that one-way smoke that came in. They could not progress. They were halted at the door.
I mean, Shin's done a ton of work there to find the kill as well on top of that.
I've got your
Is this looking like a re-hit towards C? Seekers
the
invested from Scream, yeah. I think he's going to try and follow up on this. Well, note 1 in spawn at least. Chung going to try and stall out with the snake bite.
It's just that side cross that is going to be the danger one still. Okay, Smoke did come around, and they do have a little bit to work with, but time again is a problem. 10 seconds now. They are running low on the clock. XMS and Navera have no way into that site. Held at the door, and this is going to be another one for FPX.
A shot from Berlin as well. Just Navera left standing. Obviously didn't commit to that TP earlier on. The clock will decide this one. I feel like FPX even initially looked very concerning to see 4 members staring off into that Viper's Pit. Very hesitant to clear through. Didn't invest any further utility. I think it was just the flash from A-Yang. But like you said, Carmine Corp unable to find success or progress actually elsewhere on the map. I think Conscious actually is still going to have that Killjoy utility invested towards B site. That acted as enough of a threat actually to force them towards rubble once again. Early investment here off the rip from Yu Chun. Viper Pit out towards Mound. That should close off that avenue for Carmine Corp. And now actually, no ultimates available for them to work with, and the pendulum swings back in favor of FPX now. Everything but the TP for TZH available.
TZH does have to be a little careful here. Does have the support from one by his side. Prowler going to go in, confirms at least one's attending, but there's plenty more behind that. Smoke just about committed in the horn, going to go up and show a fair amount potentially. Actually doesn't.
I mean, these one-ways are just so oppressive towards the lobby here, and that's why it's so crucial for actually them to reinforce TZH here, and Berlin just investing the ultimate to try and slow things down here. Carmine Corp looking to swing through. Shin's found it.
It's brute force. Carmine Corp just want to get this one over and done with. A little bit of a trade out comes in, sure. But still, Spike still in hand, going to be leaning through towards that A site eventually. But this, again, is so brutal to play against. They just barreled through the smokes eventually. A flash or two just sent them into motion, and now we're down to 2.
Maybe noted it there that it's going to be difficult for TZH to get much done other than, you know, finding 2 or 3 kills. Spacing not ideal there. Let's see the lockdown going to come through. Why are you going to wait this one out? But definitely doesn't give them free access back onto site. Tree's still holdable here for Karmine Core, and XMS still split away from this.
You first in, finding 1, but 1's not really going to be enough at this point. Need a little bit more damage. That's not bad. Chun trying to draw out 1. Here's the steps, and actually had an opportunity on the fight there. Nevera denies it, and it's a 13-6 map 1 here. Karmine Core looking pretty solid, I've got to say, Mike. A little bit scrappy overall. The first look at Lotus, but long story short, in my mind, FPX really petering out on that second half.
Yeah, definitely felt a little flat at times there for FPX, but I think as well, taking this with a pinch of salt, obviously this is going to be a map that there isn't a lot of preparation coming into, and on that front, I just feel like fundamentally, right, on a macro level, Karmine Core just had a much better read. We were talking about their rotations on defense and the number of times that actually Scream's able to play advantage of that cooldown on the flash as well. So yeah, a difficult game to watch really for FPX, but you know, credit due to Karmine Core in that regard.
Yeah, I do start to worry though, if this was the attempt for, let's say, FPX to be able to play maybe the least experienced map for Karmine Core to an extent, right, on international stages in that regard, this was probably one of their best attempts to really get under the skin, maybe, you know, be a little bit...
Catch them off guard almost, yeah.
Again, maybe have more of an even playing ground in that matter. When you're coming to something like Haven and even Pearl then on the horizon, if it does go that far, I do start to worry, and maybe I'm a naysayer, maybe I'll be proven wrong and I'll be happy to see it. But I've got to say, for some of the standout things, look at the positives for FPX, some of the individual plays I'm seeing are highly exciting, a little buggy at times, but certainly very thrilling.
Absolutely, I think that is the expectation, right? It's just we talk about depth, and there's a number of times we were talking about them being hesitant, right? Not really having a set game plan initially. It's almost trying to play very reactive, and Karmine Core demonstrated a lot of restraint in that regard. There was no real overextensions in that. Scream actually keeping everybody in check and actually being kind of the puppet master in that regard of what Karmine Core definitely tried to achieve on their defensive half.
Yeah, certainly not answering all of our questions yet for Karmine Core. I think
with more, to be honest.
It absolutely does. I think we'll certainly keep our eyes on it towards Haven, maybe a bit more telling as to how it looks with Scream in that IGL role, everything else that we had for them.
Yeah.
And FPX, it's still just learning as we go. Plenty more to be seen. Mike, any quick expectations? Do you think this could go the distance, or are you unsure now of seeing map 1?
I mean, I'm going to stay open-minded. Obviously, Haven coming back to a more, you know, regulation map, so to say, that maybe there's a little more depth there in what they try and achieve. But I've got to be honest, that feels like Scream and Nevera's backyard. It's their stomping ground historically.
It certainly is, and that's something to look forward to, and it'll be coming up in just a moment's time.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Carmine Corp manages to get the dub, and FPX are left questioning why did they go to Lotus when it all just seemed to crumble down for them. Unfortunately, they go down 1-0 in this series, and we move over to Haven. Golden Boy here alongside with Brennan Sideshow, and I think out of the gate, I mean, I like that they went for Lotus. I like that they tried something unique, but there was something that Pansy and Hypox said on the cast, which was, did you go to Lotus because you figured it would be the least prepared map for Carmine, or did you actually have a plan? And I kind of feel like it was the former rather than the latter.
Yeah, Carmine Corp ended up being the more prepared team, even though they didn't pick the map, I think. But what blew me away is just the difference in terms of like the first kill differential. And I mean, look at that, 17-2.
Goodness gracious.
17 of the 19 rounds, Carmine Corp was getting the first kill. And I think part of that was because FPX's early round ideas were half-baked.
Yeah,
and so Carmine Corp were set up for really nice kills. And they have some very talented players. XMS, Nevera, Shin, Scream, etc. And then you get the funny business happening too. So even though it was a roll of a map, I was still entertained. We saw the classic silly stuff coming out from FPX.
I wish we'd have shown the clip
Corp.
before that, though, because that actually shattered my brain. He stayed in the nanoform just because he's like, don't never suspect me in the
unexpected
nanoform.
play, and honestly, when you're watching, the Chinese teams play, they tend to make a lot of those like high-risk, very unexpected plays that do catch teams off guard. But when you're up against a team with that kind of experience like Carmine Corp, even though they've only just really come together as a roster, they're still disciplined enough to not really get caught off guard by moments like that.
Yeah, for sure. But guys, I feel the need for Verizon high-speed moment of the match. That would have worked out way better in my mind. But this one's going to go to Carmine Corp, who were on that premium Wi-Fi as they were just trying to run across the map to get that plant down, because it looked like things could have gone real poorly there, Brent.
Yeah, real poorly indeed, just with the time management, but just seconds to spare in terms of them being able to get this plant off as well. And just a slight whiffage, I suppose, by FPX not being able to stop this plant as well. But I think this kind of bleeds into just a wider analytical point as well. It's something that we were expecting, which is FPX being inexperienced in that LAN environment as well. And there were numerous moments over the course of that map where that kind of reared its head. And it's unfortunate for the team because this is a real trial by fire. You don't get the backup, of the lower groups where you get, you get to lose your first match and get a bit more experience.
True.
Single elimination in this tournament, you have to fix those mistakes rapidly. But there was another instance as well that it just showcased again, I think, just in terms of the mid-round calling in round 16. that I wanted to pull up. And again, it was an example of like, you see them play, I think, in their own region as well, if you watch some of the VODs of the Chinese region, but making a play like this works against a team that doesn't have a good idea of what they want to do on their attacking default to contain a play like this, which you see a lot in regions like, in some of the weaker teams, I suppose, from China and APAC as well. But teams like Carmine Corp, these guys have been forged in the fires of EMEA. They're not going to be letting something like that slip, even if Scream is IGLing.
Yeah, they're still really disciplined, and that was on the fly, but XMS just tucks in as bait. They have the turret, Scream's there to punish, and FPX are not going to be able to get away with stuff like that. And now I'm worried for them too, because they're heading to their permaban map, and I don't know what to expect. Yeah,
for sure, and that is giving us a lot of pause here, and let's actually get a little warm-up before map 2, which it's very warm in here, and let's actually check out the AIM Lab shoot-around. We're actually going to be following FPX's Berlin here, who's looking to get warm on the warm stage.
This guy has a fantastic stream, by the way. I just want to say that if you do want to follow it, he was streaming from the like practice facilities, and he was getting all the Brazilian fans in his chat trying to teach him Portuguese phrases for ranked and stuff. But he speaks pretty good English as well. It's conversational, on his own stream, but he's a great personality.
Yeah, was he the one playing with the penguin crosshair?
Yes, yes.
I mean, that is just absurd. his stats were pretty abhorrent as well in the previous map. But
could have been the crosshair.
He's got talent, but I think when you get to this kind of level, the stress of IGLing on the stage against a really competent, experienced team, that is overwhelming. And you frequently see in these kind of environments at Masters and now at Lock-In that the IGL's individual ability just falls off a cliff because they're having to think about so much else and you only have so much bandwidth to deal with.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And it's moments like this where you get really tested, like you said, as an IGL. And I think, unfortunately, from what we've seen in that first map as well, I think the fact that Carmine Corp was so able to just pry open those weaknesses in the play that we saw across the board from FPX, where, they had gaps in their play with their attacks to default, giving up a lot of space. Carmine Corp ready to take advantage of that pretty quickly. Pretty impressed, honestly, with the more supportive players, the newer, inexperienced players on Karmine Corp. I think they really did step up to the plate in this series at times.
I want to see more from NewZero because I felt like he wasn't really getting involved in very much. He only had something like 14 duels by the end of the game, whereas, you know, some of the people on FPX had 14 deaths by the end of the game. But for Shin, for XMS, they were really stepping up in a big way to the point where they were getting as much value as Nivera and more value, arguably, in terms of their rifle in than Scream was, where Scream was more to do with getting info and working the map. So I was really impressed with the development and the integration specifically of XMS and Shin.
Yeah, well, guys, if you're just joining us, welcome, obviously, to the VCT lock-in here in Sao Paulo, as Karmine Corp managed to pick up a big win there on FPX's pick of Lotus. It was a bit of a gamble. It didn't quite work out for them, but we learned a little bit, Brent, about Lotus, how Lotus plays out, you know, at a professional level. I'm excited to see how this map, you know, evolves, because I really enjoyed watching it.
I think if we ever see, you know, Lotus getting picked even more in this tournament, which I think you will, you know, there's a lot of games being played. Chances are it probably rears its head. You're probably going to see even more, you know, composition variety, I think, being played.
Yeah, I don't think that, like, settles the competition.
No.
It was just
think so.
But also, I can see the strengths of the composition, though.
Yeah, the wild thing is, though, that is a comp that FPX love playing on pretty much every map. FPX love playing this Viper Omen setup, even on maps where it doesn't make sense. You know where it doesn't make sense, Golden Boy? Haven. And that's what they played last time they played Haven. They played Viper Omen.
I was looking at VR, I was going through, I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll do that again. Oh, surely they did that
And
because they were just, but that
it was
seems
bizarre.
to be a thing.
That was the first time they'd played Haven in a long time, too, because it normally is a permaban for this team. So, at this point, it really looks wrapped up in a pretty bow for Karmine Corp. They should be able to run away with this. I feel like, again, the French players, the French teams, normally thrive on this map.
All right, well, here we go. Prime Gaming Agent Select. You can see the options there for FPX. Yu-Chen with that Viper. If he locks it in, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's
There we
probably
go.
very likely. So
There we
yeah,
go.
and the way that they play this composition
Watch
as
the
well
world burn.
is really quite odd as well. It kind of goes against the core of how a lot of teams play Haven, which is like, you know, heavy retake. And look at this, it's actually
hey,
triple initiator composition by Karmine Corp to play. That is also a little bit capped.
Oh man, they are cooking. This is what you expect though from the Scream, like brainwaves, is something that doesn't really seem to play to his strengths, but it's more of like how he thinks the game should be played.
All right, well, that's going to wrap things up here, but let's find out if this one can go the distance. I surely want it to go to Pearl. Let's send it back to our casters. It's Pansy and Hypoc.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Agent selects weird, Michael. It's weird.
It's a little odd,
It's
yeah.
weird.
Again, no real surprises. Obviously, maybe people that aren't familiar with FPX, you got to keep it in check. But obviously, there's questions here, and coming out of map 1,
Yes.
I think we should have a better idea of whether or not FPX were feeling as if Lotus was going to be a little a wild card, right? Something quirky to pull out,
Sure.
catch Karmine Corp off guard. But the concern being, I'm kind of with Josh here. This comes back, and it feels a bit more like comfort zone for Karmine Corp here. Knowing the history of some of these players, and obviously the comp, will see how they're going to play this separately, but this one for me is really concerning with what we saw on map 1, whether or not this is FPX slipping back into a bit more of a comfortable composition that they've cooked up. And yeah, like I said, I'm staying open-minded.
Yeah, I think I'll give it this half and see where we're at. It is international debut. Obviously, it does it warrants attention though. First round here, and certainly not an easy opponent in Karmine Corp either. And this composition, even coming out from the EMEA side, it's only a little unorthodox. And for now, taking their time around the map. Looks like they do want to at least test towards the B site for now.
I see why you might be tested here. Again, being suppressed, won't have use of that headhunter for the time being. But Karmine Corp don't follow through.
So, they've got a 3-play stack on long still. Essentially, I mean, you've got one towards Zero, I guess, but and not over pushing, not trying to maybe hit that flank, but it's there. Headhunter comes back around and does find where it wants to be. Shin's gone down.
Yu-Chan not noted as well, so he can stay tucked in here. Yeah, completely unconsidered here. Scream drifts a little further forwards. TZH going to find a couple of freebies outside A lobby.
Lovely.
And it's only NewZero to try and recover this in a 1v5 here.
It's really nicely played out by FPX, actually. Love that. And TZH just going to keep farming it forward. That's 3 in the round. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed what I saw there.
To touch on the comp here as well, obviously with Carmine Core showing heavy presence towards C-Long initially, big positive for me to see FPX pick up that slack elsewhere, right? The absence of a breach and not to have a raise to play off the fade here in the composition for FPX, they need to make sure that they can safely get that control of A lobby, just with a couple of the differences in utility that they do have available.
Happy to see that. Good start after a quiet second half in the first map to bounce back in and pick up a pistol. There. Good scenes. A couple of sheriffs coming out though for Carmine Corp, so not completely out of the woods just yet, but already aggression. And willingness to commit behind it too, and this is across the map. You've got two players happy to fight over towards A-Long, one towards Sewer, and C-Long had commitment behind it. B was left completely open.
Glaring the smokes outside. B site as well, side of FPX. I think on the back of that knife being invested from Scream. Faultline not going to catch anything, and so I don't think that was the intention, but a load of information picked up by A Yang here. Actually beautiful control of the entire map here from FPX.
Yeah, punished though in the follow-up from Nevera. Stunning shot on towards TZH, and that does open up the map, and the rotations might take a second or two. You see the sprint coming out from Berlin, yeah. Has to give away somewhat of the game as well. And we'll have the follow-up to be noted here, suppressed. But this isn't where the attacking side are heading now. Backfilling over towards C after pulling that attention and the rotation.
But it pulled YU off C site, all the way back in CT now, and it's going to be difficult to fight their way back onto site, and actually going to be a fairly late retake, considering two members still just making their way through A lobby.
Teleport's ready.
What do they do with this now? It's all down to this, really, and that's a perfect start, actually. Taking down Scream opens up opportunities. Nothing feels particularly safe. They can try and fold towards CT, but there is a player here. Why are you sitting towards CT? Doesn't get the inkling. He does now. Good tag, falls back, gets the frag, looks for the fall. Oh! Stunning shot, needs another. He's got support now, and it falls to pieces. Just one left alive. Great work from FPX here.
I was say it was going to be very late. It's on the back of a little further aggression in towards CT. I think they're just very conscious of the fact that they've got an awful lot to work with on site, but with YU tucked in that deep, I mean, he was even later than the two players that actually made their way all the way across from A lobby. FPX, luckily, pulling that retake off. We'll find themselves 2 up. Another round, though, that Nevera able to punish here, find first blood. I mean, map 1 was so one-sided in terms of the first bloods. And the difficulty being that FPX were really struggling to actually even trade out those first bloods or convert those 4v5s.
I do want to see how they adjust this for Carmine Corp. Now, this time around, the buy is out. I want to see how they handle this extremity pressure that we've seen somewhat consistently, right? And we're seeing it again. Berlin happy to get into the mix. Yes, this time with Spectres, though, so they do have that bonus round to play with, so why not? And oh, lovely. Navigating around the side. Berlin really working it out. The timing could not have been worse for Shin. Gets to slip away into the night and does great deals of damage here.
Chung got himself a pocket to play. This is the top of C-Long. Scream, actually sharp to it. We'll find the kill. Now YU left to hold on to C site. Ayang might just get caught on the timing here in this rotation through spawn, but Scream looking to tuck inside. Window for the time being. Respecting this headhunter for the time being. But Spike slowly making his way this direction. Nuzera will fall way ahead of this execution coming through.
Why are you absolutely having a tear of a round? Potential for another here too. 3 more bullets to play with. Not gonna happen. XMS and the boys do make it up towards C-Long. They do finally get that nice synergy building towards the site. Ayang's still here and still doing so much damage. Oh no! Oh dearie me. It's all gone Pete Tong. We're down to a 1v2. Berlin and TZH. And Scream just wants to get something on his side, at least the time now. Rifle still to hand. No utility for 10 more seconds to play with. Prowler, Horn goes up, does now reveal position. Free fight on the first, and there's no trade. The paranoia, also on the timing, not good enough to deal with Scream.
Closing out in style, a clean kill onto Berlin, and tons of space to reposition as well. TZH still a little behind the curve there.
What's the bonus, though?
That was the bonus. A ton of damage done. Still going to Carmine Cor's purchase coming through. Just about stretching 3 rifles here, but Nuzera in a rough spot. The option here for Scream to actually go to light, yeah, and he will do that. Get rifles across the board. XMS just a little overzealous, and it's Scream's fragment to shut that one down. Carmine Cor on the board here.
This is a change, though. They've kind of done the indicator that they're still going to have that A-long presence, but they've peeled away from it now, leaving just TZH posted up towards sewer. And again, you have conditioned Carmine Corp to have to respect this. They will have to at least commit utility to clear back through close towards A-long. I want to see where they adjust to. Maybe feeling that pressure through Garage and B, maybe next on the docket. Ala finds nothing, though, and they do start to at least stretch their legs towards taking the space on A-long.
The intention is here for Carmine Cor as they drift back into A lobby. First time actually that FPX haven't really solidified this control. I think that's the trade-off here for a walk down mid for Berlin and Yang.
Oh, I love this proactivity on the map. They give up one space and take it back on the other side.
As I say that, TZH just slipping back in towards heaven. Can't really commit to the spam through the smoke here, but Carmine Cor should get themselves a clean plant. Seeker's invested on the flank here, so Scream and Navera have to hold down the fort here on long.
So much utility still to be worked through. Berlin, I thought he'd be caught a little more by that flash, but no, the underhand didn't quite find it. And actually, we're seeing Carmine Corp folding here, being folded over by FPX, who wins out every single fight there. How the hell did they just cleanly pull that back off?
They had very early information on this flank as well. The Seekers obviously coming through makes it a little trickier to deal with, but
also XMS's utility got dealt with too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the health bars on the left side here, FPX barely took any damage, let alone 5 standing.
They're playing this game in such a fluid way. I mean, we talk about kind of taking space and what that means, kind of playing off extremities. I have to give a lot of credit here to FPX that they are absolutely working Carmine Corp in that regard. Yes, they gave up A-long control, but it wasn't like they then went, okay, well, we'll sit back in more of a default. No, they took that mid control, pushing straight down towards B, proactive with it, hyper aware that maybe they're going to have to play retake on A, and look how well it was devised. Map 1, throw it out the window. I'm loving this FPX.
I think the stark contrast being, we had the conversation during Lotus that there was a real lack of, game plan in the early round for FPX, and here it's totally different. I was going to say, actually, Berlin looking to capitalize on the flash. Scream actually with the punish through the smoke. Potentially create an opening here, but XMS punished, but Nuzera has slipped into hell.
Okay, that could be something. How far does he get? It looks like they're, the shot! So well considered, took his time with it on the second. TZH, again, the consideration here from both sides is perfect. We're in a 3v3, but look at the buy that's being made to work with here for Carmine Corp. Now the rifles, anything to hand, no. You look at where they were able to find these picks, not quite able to filter those back through, but plenty of util here, Mike.
Yep, the Rolling Thunder to come through on the back of contact here. Actually, YU, with that operator, going to make it problematic on the retake. Got to be conscious here of heaven. Nobody's watching it. That's the Rolling Thunder out the window.
That's an arena play and a half. You do that when they can't even hear the drop down, so unaware, so tunnel visioned towards CT. And that's going to be the diffuse. And FPX, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Do you know what? I'm happy to be proven wrong so far. I was worried. Map 1, I hated what I saw. Didn't like it. Didn't look familiar to me, but what I'm seeing from FPX is beautiful, and they are making Carmine Corp sweat.
I mean, from a fundamental standpoint, this is a different team in Map 2.
What's happened? Beautiful, beautiful Valorant right now.
Carmine Corp obviously coming back in with the purchase here, but you see Nuzera just needs somebody there. Not sure of what exactly is going on in Spawn that Scream's focused on that, but with one player towards short, a little window of opportunity for Heaven to be exposed there, and Nuzera's punished for it. Bonus being they have the Rolling Thunder to bring into the buy round.
Yep.
Not thrown out to try and convert that previous Thrifty. Viper's bit off the rip down C long here, so removing an entire extremity. So maybe a little bit of misinformation here with TZH being pinged on that knife.
They can go for a burst towards B. I want to see what they actually commit for here. Prowler goes in. So again, trying to finish towards C, I guess you could try and navigate through Garage and try and circumvent the ult, but they still have they still have to be so respectful of these flanks coming in. And Nevera, freebie, TZH completely blind. It is that burst towards B. Beautiful utility combination work. Do manage to get away from the site.
But I think he actually spotted Nevera slipping into Rabbit there. Doesn't matter though, YU with the swing. Find it with the operator.
Not much to clear the back line though, Mike, and you still got that potential look that gets considered. Are you kidding me? I thought Scream got away with it there, but absolutely not. And XMS coming right on back in, barreling through. Carmine Corp finally get a grip on one of these rounds in the post plant here. FPX halted now.
It's actually so unfortunate for TZH as well. He turns the flash, but I think almost considering it wasn't going to bounce back towards front sight here. So fully catches that. Nevera capitalizing. Finds the opener and actually with the double TP back out. Maybe get away scot-free. I mean, FPX made it a little interesting here, but Problem being it's so late to sit on that with the Rolling Thunder. FPX would have had to dig all the way towards window to really remove the possibility of Carmine Core converting it. FPX going to pump the brakes a little bit here in round 7.
Nice way to take the momentum away from Carmine Corp if they wanted to build off that confidence after that prior round, and also just maybe note what the adjustment was, because I'd say have been going beyond Carmine Corp in most of the rounds that they'd run prior. So yeah, maybe nice little time to check in on this, see what's going to be going on. Still have plenty of ults to play with too. Obviously missing out too. We saw one of them investing over towards C-Long at the start of this, but touching base, night and day difference from map 1 for me. I'm so happy to see this from FPX. I was terribly worried we were going to have a bit of a blowout series, and even if they get held on 4 now, the caliber is already very different. Such
a very different standard of FPX here on map 2, that's for sure. And whether or not actually we can allude to maybe that being a quirk they want to pull out with Lotus and it's not paying off for them, but Carmine Core got their work cut out for them here. Again, this is the side we do expect this composition to really thrive, being the chamber, the double controller on the side of FPX. Certainly want to see Carmine Core pick up a couple more just to make this comfortable. Do have the tour de force available. Felt like I haven't had to say that in a while.
Yeah, so you're away from it all. Back to the aggression though. Still exploring over towards A-Long, so showing this. So I wonder if they're going back to it.
Carmine Core have not been on the other side of this once.
No.
Berlin tasked with holding on to this. Actually, TZH coming all the way through. The second smoke deep towards A lobby.
Prowler missed him. And the paranoia certainly does, and Nevera though holds him away. Keeps him at arm's length, and Berlin needs to make a run for it. Dash away and get back to safety. Beautiful work coming in. That's honestly on Nevera, just individually finding that one shot, because everyone else was just smothered with that paranoia.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful timing for the smoke to drop. Nevera obviously playing a little deeper, so not affected by that paranoia.
Counter.
Should really slow things down though.
Oh, the paranoia.
Berlin still finds that. What?
How that paranoia was perfectly placed towards him, but the overwhelm from Carmine Corp is brilliant. Having the 3 trades coming in almost back to back clears the site, and then the last player's a mile away. That was C site hold. So this one should be wraps here unless something goes terribly astray.
We have the tour de force to work with 8 headhunter shots, but it's a tall order to pull off this 1v3. Opportunity to retrieve a Vandal here at least. Yeah, Nevera posted up with that operator.
Yep.
We'll find his 3rd on the round. That's Carmine Core's 3rd on the board. He's going to be struggling a little bit here financially. There's going to be any investment at all. Looks like it might just be Sheriff's. Yeah, you see a couple of members of Carmine Core affected by the paranoia there, but Nevera playing deeper and up on the ledge there to avoid it. I said awful timing for the smoke to drop there, but credit to Carmine Core in that regard if that was timed to perfection. And clear to know, nobody from Carmine Core entertaining this A lobby presence. So once again, TZH and Berlin will get a little curious. Despite not committed just yet, YU does get an opportunity with the headhunter, but does not connect this time around. And seeing Nivera actually put out the operator on attack kind of implies Carmine Core are going to continue with this slow pace. Like I said, considering those numbers from map 1, if they can continue to dominate this first blood game, might just pay off for them.
Yeah,
A lot more restraint demonstrated here from FPX, though. As I say that, why are you punished here?
Really considered play by Nivera as well. They seem quite aware there's a possibility of a large presence toward A. And yeah, that should be enough of an indicator to maybe look towards that C site, and that's exactly what Carmine Corp are doing. And correctly so as it stands. They might have to dismantle this stack here and try and filter it back through. But by now the site should be won. Still going to do the due diligence though, go through the motions, ensure that this isn't just a bit of a bait, a bit of a ruse, and it's certainly not. And this is when I start questioning the depth of FPX. If we look at other games, again, it's always been the depth of their ability to adjust, their ability to go beyond that initial phase of what they're bringing to the plate, which was fantastic. It garnered those 4 brilliant rounds. I do want to see where they go from this now, because Carmine Corp seem absolutely back in the driving seat here. Nivera, oh dear. One might have slipped the net, but he's just farming. Doing his share, a little bit of light armor, but Nivera just enjoying himself. Lovely confidence booster there for him. The Prime Gaming flawless.
Starting to hit their stride now. We have a tie game for a piece here on Haven. See elimination on the cards here, don't forget that.
Yep.
FPX have to win this one to force the third. And then just considering how far back he was in the open there, setting up for that reveal. For the first time, looks like FPX are going to give up this setup towards A lobby. I mean, the switch up will be YU over here with the operator.
Ooh.
Not noted as of yet.
Scary time to test this too. That operator ready to go. Shot and a half. Slaps to Nivera. Deletes him after a stellar round from Nivera just a moment ago. Now back on guard, back on duty. Once again, a reminder, do not go to this A site. Do not challenge us. Do they dare to continue to go forward?
Why are you actually not invested his trap just yet? An opportunity here, yeah, seen it placed just outside B. More drift. Back on towards A site. TZH set up on top of the box here. A-Yang will be noted on the back of the utility. So they know of at least 2 towards A site here. Carmine Corp still looking curious. That should be another noted with TZH dealing with that Prowler.
There's a lot of pressure on A-Yang here. If they do end up going up towards
Big info on that reveal, and you can see Carmine Corp already peeling away.
Trap gone though, this should call attention. XMS going to pull them away from this, but actually pulling all the players away, but rightly so. Carmine Corp are bringing everyone towards the B site now.
Here.
Re-exploring a little, and the lurk going to be met. Shin won't have the freest of times now. Yeah, TZH, the timing! Oh, it's good, it's worked out for Shin here. The response though, comes back in. They've won out on the B side though, but it's fine timing. 10 seconds, but the spike's now down. Scream, posted up, gets forced away. A-Yang is not out of it yet.
Reveal off the neural theft here. So again, all the information in favor of Carmine Corp. Chunk got to find something on the way back through. XMS will fall. Scream answers back though.
Oh my word, cleaning these players out. Carmine Corp not sitting so deep this time, couldn't sit so deep. And getting punished for FPX. Once again, rekindling some of that early round, early map form we've seen now.
That's unfortunate. Shin has a perfect opportunity to pinch this. Finds the one onto TZH. Paranoia in hand. Unfortunately dealt with, traded out there. Just inside CTR, but this shot was beautiful. Nivera just
nice.
caught behind this cage dropping.
Oh.
And you could see it just as he looked away as well. Big work from Yuchun though. That's with all the information in Carmine Corp's way.
Do they dare go back to try and test the waters by A? I feel like they have to rescind from that, Carmine Corp, and it looks like, yeah, C-site the next on the dock. But operators here.
The reveal didn't actually ping YU there.
Huh.
I don't think it was shot immediately, but it also didn't ping him. I mean, now will be noted at least he's firing off operator shots inside that smoke. XMS trying to find a timing elsewhere.
He is a little ahead of maybe TZH here, so, but I don't know if you can make much of that, really. Oh, bolt. All right, It looks like full commitment behind this. Do they stay or do they dip? And they're losing that opportunity to find the timing. TZH does not get to turn the flash either. Shin with the punish, and now already the site's going to be smothered. Berlin, though, what a shot! Mechanically just about holding on to this site. Making a scrap out of him, bring it to a 2v2 standing. Scream on the knees for now.
Spike planted.
And Spike's now in their favor.
Yeah, you can see the res not coming through, so it'll be a straight 2v2 here. Got to be conscious. Why are you creeping up long here? Yu-Chen just has to play his time here. Snakebite's available for him.
Always drawn the attention, surely. That should have been a free shot, you'd have imagined. Not the case at all.
Snakebite should be good. You actually going to find the first, and actually converts
beautiful.
with the headhunter as well. And you're right, felt like a freebie on the first, but cleans it up on the back of that second Snakebite. FPX once again pulling off a successful retake here. It's just unfortunate the timing of Scream falling, unable to get that revive on site.
Yeah.
Reducing the numbers. This might just be the last purchase Carmine Corp.
Oh,
Able to string together here.
so sharp.
Even here with the null command, FPX is just happy to just dig their heels in. Play some trades on site, it makes it 10 times easier for them to pull this retake off. All looking to buy some time for YU.
Yep. It worked. I got really nervous
I mean,
because
this is the first round where actually you've got to be a little bit critical of the attacking operator on the side of Nevera, right? You see it's caught out in no man's land.
yeah.
I mean, if anything there, you want to see him posted up deep on long, holding the heaven angle. He's all the way up on site. As soon as that first player falls, I think actually Shin's the one to fall behind screen. And Nevera's just stuck the remnants of Carmine Core. I think Nuzera swinging back through from short.
This is much more exciting. I hope we see this. Again, I don't want to get too excited because it was that second half that really petered out in that first map, but already this looks so much better from FPX. Not particularly cheesy, a little bit unique, I'd say. This isn't like a cheese comp we're seeing really either. Making Chamber look pretty decent so far too. So by all accounts, pretty decent. Forcing Carmine Corp to hit that timeout button, so that's going to be used up here. A couple of ults to play with, though, some pretty pivotal ones as well.